Brandon McCulloch with the Fort Worth Fire Department. I'm a firefighter paramedic. We're going to go over wound packing for penetrating trauma like gunshot wounds or any penetrating trauma that leaves an open hole or wound. I'm going to deconstruct this one that's already been done just to kind of show you exactly how much of this trauma packing goes in, and then we'll go over how to repack a wound that's already open. So as you'll see, it takes quite a bit of this. It's almost like doing a clown trick with this scarf when that stuff comes out. For a pretty small hole, that's quite a bit of material. You can do this with a couple of different tools and techniques. We've got the combat gauze in some of our bags as well, which has that blue stripe and it's impregnated with some of the clotting agents. You also do the same thing with a roll of gauze, basically sitting beside where you're wanting to go and using two thumbs to then dress that inside of that wound and pack as you go. That gauze should roll out if you put it in a reverse roll right up next to where you're trying to go. Once you get this packed in to a point that it stops your remaining gauze, you can take and shove into the hole, then wrap over it. And this will take, as you can see, almost an entire roll of cling to stop. Which is the purpose of what we're wanting to do with our wound packing. Now that we're at a point that we're stopping, take what's left. You can fold it over how you need to. Take a secondary piece of, or a secondary roll of gauze. Again, using a reverse roll so you can pull some tension on it. Not like this where you don't have the ability to do so. And then wrapping that as tightly as possible to hold your packing in place and give some extra absorption around the outside of it. And then tucking your excess in to hold what you've got. Okay, today we're going to go over wound packing and why we use combat gauze when available versus just regular rolled up Kerlix. Quick Clot's combat gauze is impregnated with kaolin, which activates factor 12, which is one of the clotting factors in your blood. When you activate factor 12, it initiates the clotting cascade and a fibrogen clot is created from there. So if you look at it when it comes out of this package has 8 tear points around it, so it's pretty quick to get to. Unlike the other Quick Clot brands from 2008 and below, this does not create heat like it used to. If you'll look and notice, it's got a blue woven stripe in there. That's a radiopaque stripe that will show up on x-rays so nothing gets left in the wound when they take them into surgery. This is folded in a Z-fold pattern. You'll notice there's blood here. We don't want to just set this down before we pack. We want to kind of hold this as we're packing in. So you'll start it, insert, and then just pack from that Z-fold into the wound until you get as much of it in there as possible and there's too much resistance to keep pushing in. Be sure that you explore the wound and make sure that you're getting it in every part of there. Once you get to a point that you can no longer shove any in, you're going to take your excess and just push it down on top, holding pressure, and then you can use regular Kerlix to hold in place. So now that we're about to the point that we can no longer pack the wound, flip over, push pressure. You can grab your Kerlix in a reverse roll fashion, pulling tension on the wound and your packing. And you can wrap that into place, pulling tension the entire time. Once you've got all of your wound packing covered and tightly into place, take your excess, find one of your folds, and tuck it in over the top of your wound space. So that pretty much covers everything we need to know about the combat gauze and why we prefer to use it over just regular gauze and Curlex.